The gaming industry is evolving rapidly, and there are so many changes. Xbox is completely breaking down the walls of exclusivity, PlayStation is printing money by shipping their games to PC, and Nintendo is changing by not changing. There's even change in the details though, and that's what I want to discuss today. That studio you loved so much growing up isn't quite the same, and it's making things confusing for us consumers. What I'd like to discuss in this video is why AAA gaming has been going so wrong. Now, before I go any further, this video is basically just me discussing some of the reasons I think AAA gaming is going wrong. It's not like I have it down to a science and I know what's going on. So feel free to give me your input as well as to why you think things are just going the way they are with AAA gaming. But also, welcome one and all, I am your Statistax, and if you'd like to help out the channel, if you enjoy the content, of course, get subbed, like the video. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. An incredible goal that I didn't really think would ever even be possible, but is starting to seem more and more real as time goes on, thanks to all of you beautiful people. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Alright, so at one point, we used to be able to look at a game, and if we saw Bethesda, BioWare, or even Ubisoft on the game, we knew it was a game to get. Now, in 1 year, we got a Starfield DLC, a Bethesda game, Dragon Age the Veilguard, a BioWare game, and Avowed, an Obsidian game. And all have been controversial in their own ways, and some with questionable numbers or straight failing numbers. In a way, it's bringing back the spirit of GameStop roulette we all used to play when we walked in that front door, unsure what game we'd walk out with, and whether or not the game was even good. And that's after spending our hard-earned money from chores, or using all our efforts on begging our parents to take us to get a game. Except I'm older, I don't do that now. I swear. Okay, so studios are becoming unrecognizable, and may not put out the same type of game or the same quality as they used to. I'd like to talk about why. Why are so many studios changing? Right off the top, we can chalk some of this up to time, right? People quitting, retiring, things of that nature. But something I thought about while talking to my friends is live service. More so the fact that live service was getting forced. I think of a game like Fallout 76. Don't get me wrong, I myself find 76 to be a guilty pleasure, and a much improved game as time has gone on, but we can't deny the damage done by forcing live service on Bethesda Studios. I recall a time prior to Fallout 76 when Bethesda was looked at as this anomaly in the gaming industry, holding on to the same talent for decades. I remember people seeing this and even saying Bethesda Studios needs to be studied, because they were that good at holding their talent. But then Fallout 76 came along, and that's not to say it's the game's fault, it's really the suit's fault, the people above that don't understand that when game developers learn to develop games, there is no blanket of learning that covers every game, every aspect of all types of games. Typically, game devs specialize in certain types/aspects of games. So what happens when your single-player RPG studio is asked to suddenly make this online live service constant money generator? That requires a skill set that probably isn't in the wheelhouse of a single-player RPG studio. And so some might get frustrated and leave, which is exactly what happened to Bethesda Studios. Not all, but some senior devs certainly did not take kindly to the change and left. I look at the recent closings under WB Games and how so many jobs were lost. A company with IP that should sell like hotcakes, completely fumbled, and somehow landed themselves $400 million in the hole. This was all led by suits that really just care about money and clearly have no clue how game development works or what gamers like. WB Games is just another group of suits foolishly trying to chase that Fortnite bag, and the closest they ever got was Hogwarts Legacy. I know I'm starting to really hone in on WB Games, but it's hard not to, after how much they fumbled. To be quite honest, my biggest fear with WB Games is how they will treat the next Hogwarts game. I think back to the way the Middle-earth series was treated when the first game was a success. WB saw this and essentially, in the time of loot boxes, said, hey, we made a success in Shadow of Mordor, but all we got were the game sales. What if we crammed loot boxes in the next one? So my fear is they try something like this again, but with Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not saying it'll be loot boxes, but they might try stupidly to put some kind of intrusive microtransactions in the game. Now again, my point in this video is trying to figure out what is going wrong in AAA gaming, and to me it feels as simple as the inability to learn. Look at Starfield's DLC, Shattered Space, and when people had issues with how that DLC played out and saying why it wasn't good narratively, or even in exploration, we saw a response from Phil Spencer, where he boiled the issue down to releasing buggies too soon? Like, how do you even get there? What could have led to that being your conclusion? To me, finding out the issue is as simple as reading and finding common denominators, and you can read every review, Reddit thread, and tweet about Starfield. Literally no one played Shattered Space, and by the end said the issue was Bethesda gave us the buggy too soon. I've been done with Ubisoft for a long time. A long time. One of the last games I really truly liked by them was probably Far Cry 4. And look at the way they've been crumbling. And I don't really know, honestly, how it took this long for this to happen, but I mean, I guess they put out occasional, like, okay or decent games or whatever, but I'm just, like, in awe of what Ubisoft has done. And it's just because what they do with every game is copy and paste, and they just homogenize the entire, all their franchise. Like, I mean, what happened to Splinter Cell? Like, where did that go? They just copy and pasted for Far Cry, it feels like, and honestly dumbed it down way too much. I mean, they got rid of all like the animal skinning and all the fun stuff and the crafting and all that good stuff. They just dumbed it way down. And then in Assassin's Creed, it's just like a yearly release, it feels like at this point. I mean, not anymore. I think, how long did AC Shadows take? I gotta look this up. Well, it says here it was announced in September of 2022, so it probably started development sometime in 2021, maybe early 2022, I don't know. But either way, it just feels like Ubisoft has been really fumbling, and it feels like it always comes back to, again, that inability to learn. Like, the top people up there just keep saying print this, print that, and they just keep printing the same thing over and over and over. I mean, when Ubisoft gets creative, they're really good, but their ultimate flaw is how lazy they are at being creative. And they finally are cashing in on this, like, Assassin's Creed in Japan thing when it feels like it's too late. We've been getting all of these kinds of games, and it feels like the whole time Assassin's Creed Shadows has been marketed, it's marketed as like this competitor to Ghost of Tsushima, which was an incredibly good game, by the way. Anybody that hasn't played Ghost of Tsushima should absolutely give this game a try. It was so good. Even if you're not into the story, the gameplay itself held me down for so long. I loved all the little mini games that were in there, the side quests, all the stuff. It was just so fun. There's so many collectibles and things to get and go after. Really fun open world to just explore and fight. But anyways, I'm totally rambling. That's what I think of AAA gaming and where a lot of AAA gaming goes wrong on a very consistent basis. Not that this is the only issue, but I could sit here all day talking about everything wrong with AAA gaming, but to be quite honest, as much as I loved my Fallout 3 era Bethesda, my Far Cry 3 era Ubisoft, and wish I could have those studios back, it's not all bad, because there are still plenty of great games out there. It's just as I said before, it's not as easy to find them as it used to be, when all I needed was to see certain studio labels on a game cover, but there are still a lot of great games out there, and I'll even throw out a couple of recommendations that I've been enjoying lately. I actually, on the first one, have a whole video dedicated to talking about this game and how much I just was surprised and enjoyed Dead Island 2. I'll leave the video link down below and you can check it out because this game is just pure quality through and through. Does it do anything that is completely out of the ordinary of a zombie slayer? Not really. It's a zombie slayer through and through, and that's kind of just what I loved about it, is that it stuck to what it was and it didn't try to be a million different genres. It was a zombie slayer and it did an incredibly good job at being a zombie slayer. So I'll leave my video if you want to hear about Dead Island 2 link down below. You can probably get it fairly cheap nowadays. The DLCs for it were really good as well. Another game I really have been enjoying lately is Spongebob the Cosmic Shake because I'm a man-child, but you can check this out as well. This one was something that I was kind of like disappointed to find out that it didn't really sell that well, because play the game. All the voice acting and everything, it's all the original voice actors of SpongeBob. Even the background cast of the fish and stuff and the my leg and all that stuff, it's all the original voice actors. In the comedy, they totally get it. Like, it's all the comedy from like old SpongeBob when I was a kid watching SpongeBob. It was like people my age just made this game and thought of old SpongeBob, and all the jokes and everything go back to it. And I had genuine laughs with this game, as well as tons of fun in the collecting and platforming, and I'm actively right now trying to 100% the game. And the last one that I'll leave y'all off with is Death Trash. I think this is probably only on PC because it's in early access. But this game, if y'all haven't heard of it, I did make a video talking about it, but it was a long time ago, so I don't know how quality that video is. I want to make another one when the game is done. But this game, if you're a Fallout or a Wasteland fan, absolutely 100% recommend it. This game has choice, exploration, and it's hilariously grotesque. It's freaking awesome, and it lets you off the leash like immediately. There's a little tutorial you can go through, but you can skip that if you wanted to and just get right into it. Game is awesome. Anyways, I appreciate y'all, and I just wanted to leave y'all with some recommendations because there is positives in the gaming industry. I think it's overall the AAA industry that has been failing us, but there's still plenty of great games out there, and that doesn't mean there can't be great AAA games either. It's just that right now it feels like a wait and see mode on pretty much everything for a lot of people. Gaming is getting more expensive. Everything's getting more expensive. So that's my thoughts on the AAA industry and what's going wrong with it. Appreciate y'all, especially if you stayed till this point, especially because I've just been rambling and whatnot, but hopefully maybe some of you check out the games I recommended. Great games, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.